UK I put on the list. And then of course reach out. Yeah, UK is an exception because for a long while UK didn't sign the UNESCO treaty, but recently they did. So before, formally, all the countries of the Commonwealth, Canada, US is the common, yeah, um, uh, didn't sign the treaty, and so they couldn't file even with UNESCO. But now the process is one nomination negotiated between the states. So that's where we have only limited influence, except meeting their timelines. Andreas loves this game. That's why I mentioned him as well. So from the beginning we said, you do this institutional game. I'm more on the scene side, and so that's where we both came from. But now one country coordinates and answers for all. So Norway said, okay, we would be interested, we could start this. So let's hear what the others say based on when we say we'll go first. So Germany said from the beginning, when they accepted us, we have too much work, or the whole process is too much work. If someone else goes first, because actually that country which coordinates the international application, they have to work to coordinate with the others. And usually there's only 1 or 2 people per country who have that job. So they carefully decide which process they start per year. So letters of support, so then in this country a new application is built, and we tried that very quickly, opened the process, and in general the community anchoring must be proven in every participating country again. So this, basically now it's really that 8 administrations need to synchronize their calendars. So where are we now? I said it already, May, there was this nomination file written for Norway as a fast one. We knew this wouldn't be perfect. And at the same time, people reached out on PUE, on other places for people to submit like, yes, I support this, like seniors, like you sign up for here for Evoke, like, okay, I'm at this and I'm at Evoke and put in my name. So far we got like 550 feedbacks from 36 countries, or within these 3 weeks, which we added to this file. Right now, Norway is assessing, so we wait for feedback any day now. And early 2027 they decide if they will open the process or not. After that they have to coordinate. So who's at the table? And because as it is so asynchronous, and I mean, seniors, whoever supported this is all fond, of course, of what we achieved, what everybody put in at work, and then there's this moment of, okay, now we rush for June to push into this. Not everybody could answer in time, so there was like something like to get that pushed, and at the same time maintain respect for whoever put in their work so far. So all of them are in it now, but Switzerland wrote an interest from the Federal Office of Culture. That's a very strong signal to support it. Poland, Finland, Switzerland got in touch, so they have sent to emails and let us know. Germany, like I said, will not lead, but join if another country does, which is Norway now. Sweden gave valuable input for the nomination file for next year. Means when I have an iteration on it, so that the nomination is polished, totally fine. And then Denmark, yeah, also they are not yet on the list, but they at least opened their channels. Looking at the clock. So what happens? So when? In case of a multinational nomination, a longer time frame should be expected. So that was from June 2026. So realistically speaking, what we said for this summer, let's try to open that will not go through. We will probably file in the next round, and this means yeah, like you can read. So the purely Norwegian nomination, then it would have been a UNESCO deadline, but that's not the point, right? We want all of the countries within that. So realistic scenario is submission next in 2028, and then a committee decision around 2029. So far it was like 7 years. It's still a pro bono initiative. So yeah, like everything we do for the scene, of course, it's done without any taking anything out of it, except the fun and the exchange and realizing what people care for. So what was inspired by it? And it's not for taking credit, but showing a few things. So in Poznan, the Digital Culture Museum, Zeniel, who was very strongly behind the Polish and Andrzej, so Angelo, was very strongly behind it, started like the museum on that. In the Philharmonie de Paris, they picked up Demo Mathematica in part of their show. French Minister of Culture, I had that already mentioned. And the strongest one was actually like also the Finnish Postal Museum and Museum of Games. They had not only a show at a party, but they started a series of seminars actually teaching people or bringing people to the scene via the museum. So they have regular seminars actually, so introducing people to the scene. Of course, the best thing is always to go to a demo party, what we say. In terms of education, media or research, you saw like also again the Finnish Museum of Games created like this demo maker's handbook. Schools and universities did in Ulm here in Germany or in Hanover recently. I mean, sceners do what sceners do, but if they let us know, hey, this was also inspired by what you do in art of coding, that's for us, of course, positive, and then we will share it as well. So whenever you hear something where you feel, yeah, someone or you were inspired by something, please drop it on our Discord, and we are also aware of it and can put it and just know about it. And actually the biggest one in Germany, the German Culture Council, Deutscher Kulturrat, you might have seen, had a big issue of their Politik und Kultur magazine, which had, I think, 8 or 9 articles about the demo scene. One also was also retro computing, but it was specifically things on the demo scene, what the decentral culture means, what it also... Now, looking at the political landscape, where things are going in a digital sphere, I think more and more, yes, we have to contribute even more in our way of decentral organization. Let's cut it short, plus the platforms, the technologies, ownership, etc. But that's a different talk. Lots of PhDs, not lots is too many. Some are in the room, but PhDs are written in context of the topic, and yeah. So last slide. What's next, and where you come in, of course. So still missing UK, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Esselnut, okay, Iceland. Nice typo. East and South, I mean Global South is completely not represented, for example. So, and it is, I mean it's not only an easy one. If there's only 3 scenes in a country, then it's difficult to say, okay, this is like national cultural heritage. But if there has a scene tradition or can be revived, so the Swiss scene, for example, actually I should mention that as well, the Swiss scene was very much also inspired to, after the series of Bünzli parties, etc., to start things again and actually also apply for grants, at least to safeguard a little bit the risk of running a demo party, especially if you start fresh again and you don't have like 450 people coming on the first day, which was amazing yesterday. So it was beautiful. So more countries still, then strengthen our documents. When the international process opens, means join our Discord. We will share then the file which we'll prepare for 2028. Like before, we always did it in an open way. Yeah, it's still on Google. Okay, that's something to iterate on over years. But yeah, it's all transparent. Keep the initiative anchored. So if in your countries seniors reach out, hey, can you fill in a form, or say, yeah, you support this, then please do. Because in the end, it's always important to show that the community is behind this, which is us. And then tell us what you build, exhibitions, workshops, talks, articles, and join the Art of Coding Discord. So this is kind of the update for this year in 2026, and I think we still have 5 minutes for questions. So thank you. Or, yeah, please. Yes. Yes, and that's a thing, honestly, from our, of course. So the question was, does it make the process also with UNESCO easier if more countries nationally accepted the demo scene? And for sure, because with each country more accepting the scene, it's for them, it's, I mean, right now we think already it's a low-hanging fruit. It's actually stupid. That's my personal opinion, but again, I'm not a politician. So I think it was stupid by Finland not to go first, especially because of the competition between the Nordic countries, who's kind of, yeah, I mean, there is a competition, playful competition, but there is a competition. So in that sense, it's not super surprising that Norway now took the leap, and officials are listening on that. And we will see what happens if then Finland wakes up again very soon. We will see. So yes, it helps if there is, again, especially outside of Central Europe, so Southern, Eastern Europe, but outside of Europe, especially, of course, Japan, Argentina, etc. There's many places, US, many places where seniors are active. So if you hear this also on stream, please, yeah, reach out, join our Discord. It's on our website, and briefly was here. But yeah, I mean, that's all the thing with the platforms, right? 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, let's use all these digital platforms, and now I think more about digital sovereignty again, which is a different topic. But yeah, right now, Discord, Google Docs, everything transparent.
Yeah, I guess you could say that the theme is definitely a culture. What about subcultures? Because I've lots of
what about which culture?
subcultures. We are kind of a culture as a scene, but there are subcultures doing different stuff and different arts.
Yes, so the question was, what about culture versus subculture? I think in cultural studies that's a longer debate, what to define how, and even with Luisa we have longer conversations if the demo scene is subculture or a culture, so it's more a definition question. From a UNESCO perspective, they don't differentiate. It's a culture. It's what they asked us for when we filed the applications, and you can sue that, was really, is there a craft transmitted? Is there something what we care about, which is a joint topic, like our digital handcraft, I would say, especially with the AI future. I think we will be the place where digitales Handwerk, digital crafts will be the place where we do things manually, and this will be a special place. It is already a special place, but in the future, I think there is something what we can contribute, not only on a political level, in just being there. But yeah, so they don't differentiate. Frankie.
I have a long hypothetical question. Apologies for the stream. Imagine there's a country, not in your list, which is sandwiched between France, Netherlands, and Germany.
What might that be? Is there beer involved?
Which has culture regionalized per language group.
Yes.
And the demo scene only exists in one of those language groups.
Huh.
How crazy do you need to be to start it?
Listen, having worked in Switzerland for a few years, also not everything which happens in Switzerland is happening in all the four language areas.
They're not
So the question, by the way, sorry for not repeating. So the question was, how about a country between France? So how about Belgium, where there's two language or cultural regions, three? Oh, of course, yes. Forgot. Yeah, forgot. And so, and what would you, and what?
And the demo seat exists in only one of those cultures,
Yeah.
the Dutch one.
I mean, that's the challenge in general with the whole UNESCO process, because oftentimes we had to game or find creative solutions to their forms. As they say, we have to go via the nation states. Whoever goes to the nation state and says, "Hi, we are this culture," is then, and we have this number of people, we have the trust behind, and this is where we meet, that's how we gather, that's how vote key works, and that's how you decide, that's how base democratic is, etc. So tell the story,
Yeah, well, we have one.
then you can.
We have one advantage. If it rains in Paris, it drizzles in Brussels.
That's
When it rains in Amsterdam, it drizzles in Antwerp. So in that thing, Belgium is a follower, not a leader.
yeah.
So that's a plus.
But please join us. So we'd be more happy than if we
I
see
might
them.
have some crazy people to help, but it's
Yeah, and in the end, it only needs 2 or 3 people. And factually, it's maybe a month of work, I would say. But you need 2 and 3 people because it's pro bono work. At least I get in one point wary, and if I don't have someone else who has like the motivation, man. So it's like in every demo group, right? When do you make a demo? Why don't you do most of them, make them alone? Because you motivate each other when motivation wanes and goes. So better 2 or 3 people in the core team, and then from there it's easy.
So it does need to be country-wise. You cannot say, for example, EU and then
No, that's the thing. UNESCO is a body of the nation states of the world in that sense. That's why all the logic is you have to go first in you first must be enlisted in a country, and then from those who are enlisting the demo scene, we can do the transnational application. And 9 years or 8 years ago, when we started this, I was super annoyed by that because I'm always telling the story about transnational culture and digital culture and how we have our national stereotypes, and everybody's a little bit different, but still you could crash on every demo scener's couch when you travel around the world. So told that story. But through this process, actually, I learned, no, our histories are pretty different in even countries where you're close to each other. And that's what I discovered, that's what also other demo sceners discovered. Not only East and West, of course, the Iron Curtain made a big difference, but also North and South, again, like political structures, there's so many differences. Yeah. If there's no other urgent question,
Switch the stream.
yes.
Discussion can go on. It's recorded, but we're not live then anymore because we need to switch to the first call WhatsApp.
Perfect.
Please continue in time.
Perfect. And thank you very much so far. We'll take off also the microphone. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very well. Ready for presentation, please.
Alrighty everyone, we're about to start with the first combo block of today. We're going to see a bunch of fancy and ASCII on the Amiga and also the picture. So, buckle in.
Hello, I'm totally what we are here for. So for your first compose, remember to use that very important piece of paper that you got at the info desk and vote live, because chances are high that you will be too partied up to find the motivation, and if you don't vote, you don't vote. So please enjoy one-screen ASCII Amiga and other compose. Peace and love.
How goes the war against the humans? That Terran carrier Tiger's Claw tried to attack us here at the tip of Kmang. My stealth fighters destroyed it. And soon we will demolish the rest of their fleet. Join Savar, Pirata. Avenge me, brother! Very impressive. Iraqi ships ahead. We shall destroy Terra.
Enemy fighter destroyed. You are cleared to land.
Transmitting data. Ezra, what is happening on Gorgon?
Stimo? Stimo to the beam team bridge, please. Stimo, bitte.
off, one-on-one. Flick it. Pull it. Pull it. Pop it. Twist it. Twist it. Pop it. Spin it. Twist it. Flick it. Pull it. Pop it. Spin it. Pull it. Let's watch the Amiga demo competition!
Kunst ist was für Leute, die nichts können. Kunst.
Concept, graphic, concept, graphic, music, concept, graphic, rotating objects, flybys and cubes that explode. Concept, graphic, concept, graphic, music, concept, graphic, rotating objects, flybys and cubes that explode.
Es gibt Produktionen, die gehen primär auf die Ohren. Das kann wirklich nicht jeder. Und deswegen mache ich Demos. Das kann wirklich nicht jeder. Und deswegen mache ich Demos.
That meme again. That meme again. Yeah. I'm crying, laughing at that meme again. That meme again. That meme again. Yeah. Y'all keep on sending that meme again.
You just listened to tracked music, head nodding beats. And now outside you will find Wurst, starting with a vegetarian option, with a healthy side of healthy drum bass, just like you like it.
much is the demo. I think it will be a super interesting talk. Please come up to the seminar area and also tell people outside that this is about to start.
Ja, ook voor een leuke, ook voor een workshop of een lecture. Compo. Coaster throwing competition. What? And they are all wrong. Beftex had hem niet helemaal door. Die zat het randje te lezen. Waarom zijn deze allemaal in de mannelijke vorm? Oh wacht, de feest. Dit klopt niet. Een vriendin van ons, die had Nederlandse inburgering. En dan krijg je dus ook de en het. En ze werd boos op de leraar, want ze wist toch echt heel erg zeker dat het de feest was en niet het feest. Yes.
Okay, so we can make the magic thing.
Yes, we can. You do your magic and I'll try to do mine. We can. Thank you. So, my name is Anne-Jan Brouwer. You might know me as Anus of the Feest or the Jinx of the Feest. I'm a hacker, senior, developer, and volunteer for some organizations. And I'm one of the founding members of Batch Team, which we'll be discussing about today. So, first up, some warnings. There might be some OCD triggering stuff in this presentation. Also, this talk is, it started as a 10-year Batch Team talk, so it's a long story and it has a lot of stuff going, so I'll try to go fast. And I hope I've attributed all the copyright to all the people involved. It's from my personal experience, my point of view, so there will be mistakes and stuff I missed, but if you have any questions, just raise your hand and I'll try to answer in between, but you can also save them for the end. So, let's get started. Badges. The first time I saw an event badge was in 2011 in Germany at the CCC camp, and they had this nice thing. It had a Nokia 3310 screen, tiny ARM Cortex-M0 processor, some proprietary mesh networking going on, and you could play stuff on it and use it as a name tag with animations and everything, and it was amazing. It just opened my eyes to like, this is fun. But it also had some downsides. If you wanted to make it your own and to do stuff with it, you had to download a tool chain, compile it for 2 hours. I mean, this was 2011, so there was a Core 2 Duo or something compiling the whole ARM Cortex tool chain. And once you've made your particle fountain or whatever the fuck you want to share with your friends, you had to actually plug in their device, flash it, and then they couldn't join the mesh anymore because the keys were private and not shared with the community. So as soon as you started changing the badge, it became its own thing, but it wasn't part of the group anymore. So I was thinking, what can we do? And together with some friends, we were looking on the internet and we found a trinket. It's a tiny thing, just a processor with a LED grid directly soldered on top, and you could make animations for it. And we were thinking, yeah, we would like to do something like that, but a bit more, bigger. And I came up with a kit that we were selling for 10 euros. It's just a simple soldering kit from Alibaba, compared with a mini breadboard, standard Arduino processor, and a flasher, and we could just start doing fun things like workshops for kids, make games. A friend of ours made Flappy Bird. It even has an attract mode to show the high score run. So when you get a new high score, it just saves all your key presses and timing events. So you can use that as an attract mode. That was a lot of fun. But then I started looking into something smaller, something more wearable, and I decided, why not make a watch? Espressif just came out with their tiny Wi-Fi chip, and someone wrote a Lua interpreter for it, so then you could actually make apps and make it easy. And I thought, okay, we'll call it an iWatch. Our group is called iHack. And then we have an iWatch. You can have an iStore for your apps and all those things. Possibly make it bigger, make an iPad. So then there was an event in Amsterdam. It was called Yamiichi, which is Japanese for black market. And their theme was the online offline and the offline online. So friends of ours were selling like these picture frames with a QR code, and below it said, for example, sailboat, and then you take your phone, you scan the QR code, and you get an ASCII art interpretation of a sailboat. So then you have the online offline mix, and we decided, okay, let's have people play the games outside, so Pong, Tetris, stuff like that, and if they want to make it for 10 euros, they can solder it inside. And that was a fun thing. We built a lot of them. We made a complete package, and this was my first experience making something, a product that you can just hand out. People can work with it, so you fold it into, so it's A4, A5, A6. You fold it, and then you fold it another 3 times, put it in a plastic bag with all the components. You have a nice something to give away. That really works. So then, time goes on. There was the next German camp. They had a really awesome badge, but it was also huge, very power hungry. It's kind of a clone of a HackRF, so software-defined radio. You could use it to send and receive data over the air on multiple bands, but it had a tiny screen, terrible battery life, and again, no way of sharing your creations. So during that camp, we were planning for the next Dutch camp in 2 years, and I came up with a badge manifesto. Really simple, just 3 rules. First, it has to be a badge. At speaking distance, you have to be able to read someone's name. Second, it has to add something to the event. That HackerF thing was really fun, but it didn't add anything to the event. It didn't give anything extra event-related. And it has to be instantly hackable, so no 2-hour toolchain downloads, no awkward ways of sharing data. And my dear friends in the Netherlands came up with a plan to, way before I had something, have the first Dutch electronic event badge. They made the Firefly. It's literally a battery, an LED, a piece of cardboard, a sticker, and a piece of rope. And they handed out permanent markers, so you could write your name on it, instantly hackable. You can read the name at it adds something to the event, etc. It's really customizable. So they've checked all the boxes, and yeah, well, that was not it for me. So I started looking for some friends. In February, I made a mock-up. Well, literally just a cheap e-ink screen, and hello, my name is. Then I started working on a proof of concept, because people were saying, yeah, e-ink is way too slow, you can't use that for menus, you can't make it interactive, it's just to read stuff. These are used as price tags in supermarkets. You can't do anything with that. In the meantime, there was another camp in the UK, EMF camp. They had a nice badge, and it actually had an app store. But you had to go to the organizers, give them your copy of the code you made in MicroPython, I think. And they had to first look at the code, vet it, put it in their app store. Well, we found a way around it, side loading. And we made some interesting malware for it. We also had our big team meeting and formed our proper group. So a year before the Dutch event, we started really working. And a week after EMF camp, there was a field day. So we were going to the field where the Dutch event would be held, and I brought my prototype to show that, well, e-ink can be fast enough. This was literally just an Arduino, a breakout board, a retrofitted bigger screen, and an analog joystick, but just to show that you can make it useful as an interactive device. And people got really, hyped up and started joining our group. In September, we had our first hardware design, just a big prototyping area and some simple components. ESP32 was just brand new back then. It was literally out for a couple of weeks or months. And it's a nice dual-core processor, has Wi-Fi, a bit more oomph than the previous one. And Congress, CCC Congress in December, we had our first hardware, and I hooked up the screen. We didn't have any proper firmware for it yet, not even testing firmware. So again, I hooked up the Arduino to some test points, and ta-da! And I was amazed by how bright the screen was, or how dark the screen was, because our driver was a lot more fitted to the screen than the driver on the Chinese breakout board we used before. So it was really sharp, really dark, really nice. And after a day of hacking, we got our first firmware working. So then we started designing. And the idea was to have like a stylish Game Boy kind of thing with capacitive touch controls. And we made the first prototype, well, as you can see, brought to you by a whole bunch of people that worked on it, including me. The touch controller is nicely tucked away behind the battery, so you don't accidentally touch it. It's nice shielded from your body for the inputs. And we came up with a very smart idea that we've been happy with that for forever now, that you can, with configuration, make your firmware flexible to support multiple devices, multiple different screens, multiple versions, so prototype 0, prototype 1, etc. And we made a lot of prototypes. Oh, I already had this, yeah. So you can have different batch revisions, different settings, use Wi-Fi, or not use Wi-Fi to save a bunch of memory for your testing. And another thing that we decided to make was an emulator. You can't give everybody, during the development process, give everybody access to prototype hardware because it's expensive. It's a lot of work. You have to hand solder them most of the time. So making an emulator, and in this case, because it was Python, that was really easy. We could just have a lot of people working on it. In the meantime, I found the time to actually create an add-on to still have some prototyping options with your board if you want to do some hardware hacking. We did, because we have Wi-Fi, we can have over-the-air updating, and we can have an app store, which we can't call an app store because of copyright reasons, but we were using MicroPython, and Python has the way they package their applications, they call it eggs, because a snake lays eggs, etc. So where do you put your eggs? In a hatchery to mature them. Well, that worked. We had a way of transporting data, so everybody who made an application could just instantly share it with everybody on the field, everybody in the world. No hard ways well, no extra boundaries that are unnecessary. E-ink is easy. This is a terrible statement for everybody who's ever worked with e-ink. E-ink is terrible. E-ink is temperature sensitive, time sensitive. It's really hard to drive, but it's awesome for debugging. We were doing 5,000 of these badges, and they had some issues. One of our sponsors, for example, for the serial communication chip, USB to serial, they only sponsored us half of the parts we needed. So we said to our Chinese supplier, okay, find us the cheapest replacements. Yeah, he found the cheapest replacements. They were fake. So then we had two different versions. On the e-ink screen, so during factory testing, also some of the touch controllers got dirty or got some solder crap on there. So our factory firmware would just display on the screen what was wrong. So during assembly and factory testing, you could just lay the broken ones in a box, and then you could pick it. Someone else could pick it out of the box, read on the e-ink screen what is wrong, fix the problem, and just put it back in line. But also, if you look very carefully, there's a small F in the side of the screen. The e-ink screen wasn't supposed to do grayscale, by the way, just black and white. So we hacked in grayscale support as well with the timing critical things. But that F, that stands for fake. We had the fake ones and the real ones. So after the sweatshop, we handed the devices out to all the people that helped us with working. So you see all those people busy there. And some took them home, hooked them up, and then found out that half of our devices wouldn't work if you had the battery and a USB connected. They would just freeze. We're like, what the fuck? So the guy who designed the hardware, luckily, he found out relatively quickly that it was a problem with parasitic powering of the chip. So when you hook up the USB, over the data line, there would be some power trickling in, and that would just raise the reset flag of the CPU. So half of them wouldn't work. But luckily, we also found out that, well, those clones didn't really read the spec sheet correctly. So if we would write and read some data to them, we could figure out which ones were the real ones, which ones were the fake ones. So we, on the screen, would just put an F if it's fake, SL if it was a real Silicon Labs chip. And then half of them, we had to do some rework. Well, you see this tiny, tiny resistor over there. We had to scratch the solder, the solder mask and the copper trace from the data line to the serial chip and put in a 10K resistor. So the data would flow through the resistor, but it wouldn't be enough to power it and put it in reset mode. So 2,500 times scratching a tiny scratch with a microscope and then soldering, and that only works if you factory line it. So you have everybody doing one singular job and just doing that over and over and over again, or a bunch of people. because then you can also balance the workload, and you don't have to do complicated things. You can actually work on it. So, finally, we have all 5,000 ready. Well, almost, like 4,300 or something. Enough for the people on the event. So we hand them out, and during the event, 80% of them were turned on. They watched at least the whole sponsor screen, and it did a check if there was a new firmware available. So 80% of the devices we handed out were used, and over 200 apps were created over the course of 4 days, just by people on the field, uploading it to our hatchery, to our badge team hatchery. A lot of the e-ink screens failed. It was warm weather. We used glue dots to glue them on. That didn't really work. Some would just fall off, and because the glue dots were relatively thick, you just hook behind your clothing, and those e-ink screens are just a couple of plates of glass. They're really fragile, so we had a wall of fail with all the broken screens that were broken in different miraculous ways. But it was a lot of fun. The event was, it was really so much fun, so much positivity from all the people using the badges and making all these event-appropriate apps, like a weather radar. So it would just look for the next hour, what is the chance of rain? You could see the temperature in the Finnish sauna at the camp. It was loaded from the start with an event booklet, so all the different lectures and workshops, everything. You could set an alarm if you soldered on a buzzer. We had some workshops for that, and the LEDs, soldering them on. But also after the event, it found a lot of use in, for example, Dutch hackerspaces. This one, they added a CO2 monitor chip and made it a CO2 alarm. So became more relevant a bit later with COVID and stuff. But yeah, someone made a tracker. We have it for billing of laser hours. So the laser tubes, they deteriorate over time. How much you use them, you get billed on that time it's actually in use. And yeah, well, we have an e-ink screen with a processor, so why not? They found a lot of use after the event, which is really nice, I think. In Finland, there's an event called Disobey. And during the next CCC Congress, we had a lot of fun talking to the guys working there. This Clement, he is also a demo scener, I think. But he was working on their badge idea, and he said, so can we use your firmware? Well, some of it is not really open source. We use a graphics library that's a bit meh and proprietary, but yeah, let's just work together, drop that graphics library, put in a different one, and then the fun thing, even though it has a completely different screen, this is a tiny LCD screen, you can just use the different apps, as long as in the Python app you just do a little bit of detecting of which screen it is, or a flag somewhere in memory, or whatever, and the apps can be reused among different badges. They use the same app store, everything, and it was fun. So then we decided, let's do our own remix. Just have the newest ESP chip on there with more RAM, more ROM, flip the screen 90 degrees, add an audio DAC, I2C DAC, and then we made a tiny mistake because you know those jack plugs that you use for audio? On the PCB design, they have this keep out zone. And we thought that was in the front, but no, those are in the back because you plug something in and you want some free space there, not to put big capacitors or whatever. So we accidentally flipped our connector 180 degrees. So the tip became the shield became the tip, and the middle was still the middle. So if you know anything about audio, that sounds terrible. But we could fix it in software because it's just math. So you take on the left channel, you take left plus right, and on the right channel, you divide you take the right minus left, and then it all works out. You have good audio, as long as you don't use active headphones. So yeah, we decided to not fix it in hardware this time. We had enough of that. No. But yeah, for now we did. There was another small event and they didn't have any budget, so we made a badge without anything on it. You could still write your name on it with a marker, and you had a nice place for both SMD and through-hole components to make your own badge. We brought a whole bunch of random components and asked everybody to bring their random components and did a kind of a workshop and a competition to see who could make the most fun badge thing. I completely forgot who won and what they made, but it was a lot of fun doing. That year we were also at Bornhack in Denmark, and they had a guy called Flummer, and he, for the last 10 years, made their badges. And this year also, and we looked at him sitting in the volunteer area, being completely overworked with a friend of his, soldering badges, and doing it the manual, normal way. So taking a badge, putting on components, soldering some bits, gluing, doing every step every time. So we said, yeah, that's not how you do it. Do you want us to help? And he was like, well, yes, okay. Then you go and do your stuff, we'll go and do our stuff. And we completely factory lined it, set up with everybody doing one singular job, everything. And there was one person, a friend of mine, Vreemd, and she was doing all the overflow, so taking the parts from step 1, bringing them to step 2, all that kind of stuff, just walking around and doing that. And she was like, I feel like I'm not doing anything, not adding anything. Can you give me a different job? Well, you can ask around and see if people want drinks, and get us drinks. Then she came back and everything was in disarray. There were stacks everywhere. People were waiting for components. She's like, I was doing a very important job. Yes, you were doing the most important job. So that was a fun way of handling that. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. Also during 2019 there was a Dutch event called Camp Zone, and with our same firmware, just a totally different display. It was a LED grid, which also doubles as an AM radio if you play with it long enough. And we introduced icons into our firmware system, so as metadata. In this case, you couldn't just scroll the whole name of an application, but we decided on, I think, 8x8 pixels RGB as an icon, so you can have different apps and visually select them. It had a, how do you call it, gyroscope, IMU, on it, and I couldn't find the video, but there's a nice app with like fire that flows and water that flows with different stuff. I was sad I couldn't find that video for you. We went on in 2019, and at this time we also got our feel for a unified design. If you've seen our stickers around or seen any of our products, most of them have like this unified design with the badger and the snake, badger, ta-da, and the snake for the MicroPython. And this time we didn't have a budget, very low budget. And we decided, okay, let's go all in with the art and with the storytelling and those kind of things, instead of focusing on the coolest, newest hardware. So we had an ATtiny 1617, which is a tiny chip with very little memory. We added some more memory. We also made a mistake. All the LEDs were the wrong way around. Literally all of them. So we had to fix all 500, was it 500 or 300? 500 badges. We also had to flash the firmware and flash the EEPROM. So we were like, okay, so do we have to set up laptops for that? Oh no, wait. We have some spare badges from the first time. We can use them as a flashing station. So we made some firmware for that, that you could just hook up a badge. It would first flash the firmware, then flash the EEPROM, and in the end give you a status report. And thanks to the e-ink, that's really readable, very user-friendly. And we've been using that system, but mostly with laptops, from that point on. As I said, we were doing some storytelling. This badge, as you saw, it looked a bit Egyptian. We had this interesting story with our snake and badger being Indiana Jones and going on an adventure. Well, it was a big adventure. It was a mixed reality adventure. For example, we had a whole chip, which is extremely cheap. It's a magnetic detector. So we had some pictures with different hieroglyphs, and in the story you could see what you had to do and which kind of dance you had to make all over that picture. So you had to move the badge, and you could test it during play testing with a magnet going north, north, south, north, 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 south, stuff like that. It also had a small thermal detector. So in one part you are in the desert and you have to sleep the night in the desert. So you first have to cool the badge down and then heat it up again. Time has passed. We had a serial and some audio cues. If you hooked up a headphones, you could play a text adventure on it to unlock some more stuff. And you are in a damp room, and all of a sudden you're drip, 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 stuff like that. And all that in 16K ROM, 2K RAM, and 265K EEPROM. So that was a lot of effort. As you can see, it has a bunch of places for LEDs, and in the end you have to make all those things go green. The quickest team we had playing this was a team of 2 geniuses, and they fixed it in 13 hours. So it had a good amount of playtime. Playtesting quickest with everything at hand, 30 minutes. So it was a fun game to make. On a very low budget, but yeah, high concept, low budget. Constraint just brings out a lot of fun. And here we also had a very tight constraint because it only has an 8x8 display of silicon buttons with RGB, 2 speakers, and USB has the nice thing of allowing one device to be multiple devices, in this case over the human interface device standard. So this thing was a mouse, a keyboard, so you could play Rubber Ducky on it, a MIDI instrument and a MIDI controller, all at the same time. With different apps you could switch with the capacitive touch buttons for pagination, going back home, yes, no, all that stuff. Really fun, like Stream Deck application. Then, COVID happened. MCH 2021 didn't come through, but we were already working on it and planning on it, and we even found some very big name sponsors because, well, we had never disappointed yet, and we didn't plan on disappointing. Espressive, whenever we just have an idea, we send them a message and they go like, okay, how many and where? Do you want some in the Netherlands? Do they go to a warehouse in China? But this time we had Lattice, an FPGA maker, who sponsored us 5,000 ICE40s and sent them just before COVID to our warehouse in China. And during that time, there was also this incident with a big boat in a canal that was stuck, and chip prices going up. So our stock in China was just getting more and more and more expensive. We were like, yeah, is this going well? Can we trust those people? Well, we could. And we decided on this, this awesome design. It looks a bit like a Game Boy Advance. So it has an FPGA, ESP32 again for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, standard processing. Raspberry Pi RP2040, which is actually just a North bridge, so it's a USB controller and some peripheral wiring. So it's a bit overkill for that, but there's no kill like overkill. Again, as you can see, sweatshopping, putting everything in bags. And the nice thing about this device is that we have 3 ways of putting applications on it. So you could have MicroPython, like with the stuff before, which is just MicroPython interpreter. You put in your app, you play it, and you stop it and you do something else. Or you could put in an ESP32 binary. So we had like the bootloader could chain load other applications, or an FPGA bitstream, which is really a lot of fun. This was released this year by, I forgot the guy's name. Too bad. He made a real-time renderer on the FPGA with garage shading, lighting, texture support, all the kind of stuff. Really nice. Oh, Heavy Pixels, his name is there. Someone else made an Amiga Another World game interpreter on the FPGA, so you can play, a game that should not be playable on this device, but yeah, you can because of the FPGA. It's really nice. And still people are creating new stuff for this thing. And I think this was the first time that we actually made a platform that could be seen as a demo platform. And if ever, I think I want to make a remastered, even cooler version of this badge, because with proper sponsoring, it fits in a budget. Hacker Hotel again. This time, the badge team people did only a few things. The design. And as you can see on the side, PCBs are made of layers. You can also use that in an artistic way to make really cool effects on the PCB, to make it, in this case, look like an ancient artifact or an alien artifact. Really nice. Also, the thing is a lot of fun. It has like a game on it. It's a very early 4-bit computer. At the Hacker Hotel events, we kind of gotten into this ancient technology vibe for a couple of years. We'll get back to that later with another one. There was a big new Dutch hacker camp coming, so we started brainstorming, aligning all the ideas, getting a huge group of people together because, we now have a reputation. So people are like, perhaps I can help. Yeah, sure. I have a lot of ideas. Okay, but can you actually also do things, or do you just have ideas for other people to do? Because we also have ideas. So we kind of collected all these ideas, brought it together, and started working on the new badge. Up comes another Hacker Hotel. And this time we had an ESP32, the first RISC-V one, and we had an interesting idea about interfacing, and in this time input. The Cook and Wheatstone telegraph was designed hundreds of years ago, and it uses 5 wires to do alphabet and some more. I think alphabet and numerics, but I forgot how. Anyway, you have 5 flippers here, like those side-to-side buttons. You have to put one to the left and the other to the right, and where they intersect, click, click, it shows. This thing also had an, what do you call that? Like a relay on the back. It didn't do anything electronic, but it gave a nice click when you selected your letter for the haptic feedback vibe, and it was the cheapest way to do that. So this one also had a 3-color e-ink screen for the first time for us, which is nice, black, white, and red. And we created a completely original adventure game with different zones, with different areas to go through, and time appropriate, so it was like a steampunky kind of thing and vibe. So on to our new product, the first real product, we could say. Again, open hardware design, console, and the commercial version by Renze, the Tamatsu, which is Japanese for console or terminal, so it all turns out in the same. It has 2 ESPs, one for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, the ESP-C6, and the ESP-P4, which is one of the strongest, latest devices by Espressif. It's a dual-core 400 megahertz RISC-V, really nice, really powerful, and as you can see, it has a lot of parts and features. It's a really nice device, and it was released last year. It has LoRa, so it can do mesh core, mesh static, stuff like that. A connect all the things adapter. Did you invent that standard, or was it Ransbach? Ransbach invented that standard. The CATT standard, it stands for connect all the things. It's better than the shitty add-on standard, in my opinion. And also it's polarized by default. That helps. And yeah, it's a really fun device to code for, as a lot of people are showing. So René Stiekbrouwer and Daan Dobber, they made a lot of demo-y things and games. This is a really fun game in the nice retro vibey style, the vaporwave style. Of course, someone ported Doom to it, and some emulators. In this case, Pokemon. No, what is it? Game Boy Color. This is Game Boy Color. But there's also Game Boy Advance port. This is the Game Boy Color one. I'm pretty sure. As you might have heard, the C64 license, the Commodore 64 brand and branding was up for sale, and it was bought. Someone bought it, and then if you send them an email and you say, we have a nice product, it's almost non-profit, then they can sell you a license. So we have the Commodore P4, which you can soon buy. Ransbach of the Feest, this year isn't at Evoke, but normally also comes. He ported a C64 emulator and a NES emulator. Today I was, a couple of weeks ago, Renze put in USB keyboard support. Today I was trying to port my USB joystick support to it, and after this talk I'll continue trying. So you can use a USB game controller with your official Commodore P4 to play Commodore 64 games. Very, very Evoke compatible. Yesterday I ported TIG-80 to the thing. It works really nicely on it, even though it's only 400 megahertz. And in this case, you're barely using the second core. It really works. It really feels nice. It is tactile. It's a nice device to play on, and you can switch the different screens with the colored buttons. It really works. And as I said, it's all open hardware, open source. Because of some drama, we decided that being an informal union, which is the basic legal form of, or legal entity, if you are a bunch of friends. If you decide with a bunch of friends, let's go to the supermarket and buy a crate of beer, then you are the informal organization of getting a crate of beer. We were still an informal organization, but we were sometimes handling like hundreds of thousands up to €1 million in parts, in promises, in stuff. So that's not a really sustainable way of handling this. So we became a legal entity, a stichting in Dutch. Specifically not an ambi-stichting, which is an allgemeinnütz something in German, I think. But yeah, no, we are a very niche stichting. We don't want to have the tax hassle of being a we are mostly non-profit. We are a non-profit. I mean, it costs us a shit ton of money. But yeah, we are every organization has to have like a mission statement, like a scope of what we do. And we are for the development and preservation of cultural expressions with regard to PCB design and embedded software, mostly in the hacker and maker scene. Sorry, I forgot to put demo scene there too. But yeah, it would be a bit long also. And I think it kind of fits. The scene, yes. So we are since last year. We are a foundation, that's fun. There's at least 4 demo sceners in the board of the organization, so that works. On to another year, another sweatshop. We came to Bornhack last year, and finally the 2024 badge had arrived. Also, the guy making the badges, Flummer, did a nice badge talk, and he said, this was 10 years of making badges. This is the last time I'm doing it. We're like, okay, fun. Well, you Danes have fun, and well, if you need anything, we'll be around to see if we can help out. So we helped out during the event with some sweatshops, making firmware. This is it's a terrible picture, but it's actually like a 5 or 7, is it 5 LEDs? A row of LEDs, and you can, for example, use it as a persistence of vision device for showing some text or animations or things like that. Use it as a VU meter for audio or whatever you would like to do. We made some firmware for that and a workshop of firmware making. 40 minutes, right? Yeah. So also the 2025 badge arrived, and it had LoRa, which was fun. We had some LoRa knowledge. And we said, okay, we would like to do the sweatshop for this one as well. We already did the sweatshop like 2 days ago for the other one, but yeah. But only if we can also make some firmware for it, because we're not handing out a brick. Here's a nice device. What does it do? If you plug in the power cable, the LED goes on? Yeah, no. So we made we ported Meshtastic to it, which is just a bunch of configs. But that was a fun thing to do. We even had some aftermarket parts, so we did a firmware update with free screen, so people could, on the shitty add-on connector, put in a tiny OLED, and it would notify things, because both Meshtastic and Meshcore support that out of the box, so it was also just a bit of mapping. And we started brainstorming for this year, well, during the brainstorm, mostly the idea was like, we want decked phones. If you've ever been to any of the bigger or medium-sized hacker events in Europe, you have decked coverage, decked like the standard house phone, wired phone that is wireless kind of thing. You have coverage on the whole field, and you can just, with 4 numbers, dial a friend. This year, EMF in the UK and Bornhack were at the same time. And people could literally, with a prefix number, call from Bornhack to EMF with like a 6-digit number, call your hacker friends who are at the other camp. And so DECT was a fun idea, but it's expensive. Getting parts for that is terrible. It's all proprietary standards. It's not doable as a badge, as far as we know. But the Tamagotchi kind of stuck, and with nobody picking it up, and one of our guys during the Christmas being with family somewhere in France on a snowy hill, he was like, okay, I'll go and play with my computer and start designing stuff. In the meantime, Renze found a supplier for displays. Tiny e-ink screens that are 152 by 152 pixels that were used in German supermarkets as price tags. So they are refurbished from that. We got a whole box with them, and then we had to crack the plastic case by hand and strip it all out, and most of them survived. I think 95% or so, or higher even. But during that stripping, we kind of noticed that there were 2 different versions. This, if you look at this picture on top, do I have a better one? No. It has 1 inkwell, one bottom on the bottom of the screen, but some others have 2 inkwells, and that turned out to be interesting. But we also decided we want to make a product, not just a badge, not just a PCB that you hang around your neck. No, we want to have an actual product that is sturdy, that has a case, that has a look and a feel, and that you just take it out of the box, you switch it on, and it works. And that's it. So it was a Tamagotchi. It had some mini games, so to entertain your pet, you could play Born Jeweled or Triple Born, or what was the other one? Well, all kinds of very original mini games. It had a clock and a calendar, and the calendar could also have events. So we put in all the interesting, in my opinion, because I put them in, talks that were there at the event. So when we had our badge team talk about this badge, all the people that were wearing their badge in the audience, like a second before our talk started, went beep, 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 beep. Because we had LoRa and a companion app, the standard Meshcore companion app. I forgot to put Meshcore here, terrible. Anyway, it could sync the time, so our clock would be set if you had a Bluetooth companion, but that's not an out-of-the-box experience. So we were experimenting a bit, and then by just listening to signed, so Meshcore has different kind of nodes, so you have repeaters and end nodes, clients. By looking at the signed repeater messages, we could figure out the time and then start looking at locking into the time. So out of the box, if you switch it on after a couple of seconds, it would have mostly correct time. So that worked really well. We also had a game. So these Tamagotchis, yeah, those are fun, but sometimes your pet is almost starving. And then on the field, you could have a health station. So you just, with the NFC, you just put it on the health station goes and it's happy, it's healthy again. We decided that the easiest way to do that is just make an Android app. That the Android phones have NFC, they have network connectivity. If you want to make your health station, like the physical thing, be more shiny, you can use some LEDs, and there's a good open standard for that, WLED, that over the network you can just send them stuff. So then the app would just send a string of animation code, and your station would be either happy or sad with your connection. Someone decided that NFC was too sniffable, so then we decided, well, we have all this crypto stuff in the badge anyway, with a Nordic Semi and NRF 52480. So why not use cryptographically signed handshaking with the NFC? So yeah, people tried to break it. Nope, nope, nope. We had some interesting crypto stuff in other badges as well. If you're interested, come and talk about that with us. So yeah, we worked on the e-ink, and then we found out, here you see, one inkwell, two inkwells. This is a, as we say, terrible screen. This was the A screen. We had A and B. It was the 1675 from Solomon Display, I think, which is in literally all the price tags. That chip and its family, the whole 1670, 1680, etc. range, is in literally all the price tags. This one is from an Albert Heijn in the Netherlands. It's also a 3-color screen, as you can see over there with the hello, my name is. And they're very, very temperature sensitive. In the supermarket, that's not a problem. It's always 21 degrees. We have air conditioning. We are on a field with rainy days, with sunny days. Sometimes it's 40 degrees, sometimes it's 16 in the same day. And yeah, we had to figure out how to work that. So Ransbach, unfortunately, he's not here. He can do a whole 1-hour lecture on just how e-inks work, how to drive them correctly, how to work with them, how to break them. And yeah, it was really good figuring out. So the firmware just detects if it's a newer or an older screen, reads the lookup tables, changes the lookup tables, patches the lookup tables for different kind of refreshes, full or partial, with or without red. It was a lot of work and a lot of fun. I think it was 3 months of work just on the e-ink driver alone. But now we have all the tools and we can drive nearly all the displays. As we said, a product, so we had 2 workshops this time. First one in the Netherlands, putting on the base firmware, on the X, putting the screens together, and then in Denmark, putting in the final firmware, and putting it in the case. The cases were 3D printed by one of our friends and sponsors, Mollerup. And yeah, it was a lot of fun doing the sweatshops again, because everybody has a singular task. You don't have to think about your task. You're just screwing in 3 screws, or you're just gluing something together, or you're just plugging something in, looking at the color of the LED, plugging it out again. So you can really socialize. So once one of those sweatshops, if it takes 2 hours, you have 2 hours to have conversations with your friends on the tables around you. It's really a lot of relaxed, stupid work, so to say. And for the first time in Bornhack history, and as we always do, we delivered day -1. Well, you can see it was pretty dark, so it was just about day -1. I thought it was 20 to 12 at night. When just before midnight, we delivered all the badges to the info desk so people could just fetch their badge with their bracelet and don't have to worry about things. Because in the past, with a lot of events, you have these long queues. You have to queue to receive your badge with your extra QR code, all that stuff. We never do that. We always have them at the info desk. You can get it if you want as soon as you check in. No need for extra queues. I put in this sign because here it is frowned upon at Evoke to use generative AI. This firmware of this badge is 95% vibe coded. Everything except for the display drivers, some really optimized stuff like the clock rendering that I did like ages ago and just wanted to port over. But the rest of it is all vibe coded, which really works because we were using Rust, which is a very strict language, doing some unit testing and stuff like that. And if you give your generative AI a short enough leash, it really works well, in my opinion. During the event, we gave out a community edition, which was a lot less sponsor-friendly. So we took out all the sponsor images. Some dames came up with the idea and started coding on it, and I was like, yeah, I want to join in on the fun. We gave the Tamagotchi a more Pokemon-y feel. So now your Pokemon can, or your pets can fight each other over LoRa. So if one of your friends has been nearby and will be broadcasting his name over zero hop, so it doesn't mess with the network, it would just say, hello, my name is, and these are my stats. And then your one would pick it up. Would you like to battle? Yes. And then the results will be transmitted to your friend. They also get the same battle screen, stuff like that. We also had a financial system that would be set to no finances, Europe or USA. If it's in USA mode, all the healthy food will be 3 times more expensive, and medicine is like unaffordable, stuff like that. We asked an American guy at the event, do you think this is appropriate? He said, yeah, but well, the healthy food, the medicine should be 7 times more expensive, not just 3. Other than that, it was fun. Well, of course, someone had to ask, does it play Doom? Yes. And the guy that ported Doom also actually finished E1 M1 with 100% kills and 100% everything. His thumb hurt a lot though, and you have to really anticipate because, well, you see the update speed, the enemies are fast. So today, yeah, we are still playing with it. As you can see, I put in a version of Bad Apple on an e-ink screen, and yeah, we just some guys said, yeah, I got these supermarket screens that just fell off the shelf or something. I don't know. Would you like to play with them? And we did. Turns out in like an hour or so, we had them working, and well, after a bit more time, we also had them relatively fast. I think it can do 2 FPS now, 4 FPS if you cool them down a lot. Otherwise, they'll turn pink. This one is slowly turning pink now. But yeah, that is currently what we're doing. We're planning for the next Hacker Hotel, but I was thinking, yeah, let's have some platform work. Perhaps we can make new badges, new platforms, your next fantasy console. Let's get in touch, join our Discord. And are there any questions? Yes. Okay.
I thought, okay, the next camp that I go to, I really would like one of the badges could have that.
Do you remember the name of that thing, of the device?
This company is Bauchip, and the new SoC is Bauchip.
Bauchip. Okay, well, I'll have a look at it. Yeah, thanks.
He's really close to CCC, so if you reach out to him.
Yeah, I know. I have lots of CCC contacts. Cool. Notepond.
Yeah, I would have one question because you're talking about sponsors and hardware cost money.
Yeah.
How are you actually doing that?
How are we doing that? Well, reputation mostly. Because every badge that we hand out, there's a Hacker Day article, there's some articles in other niche media, and we're handing out these devices that show how easy it is to work with those chips to people who are kind of immune to advertisement. Most demo sceners also know that you're completely blind for advertisement. You just don't see it. People say, "Did you see that?" No, I didn't. But if you give some people that might work at a company where they're designing hardware, designing software, and if you show them, just literally give them something in their hand that shows how easy it is to modify, to create something for it to play with, in that case, that has a lot of value for those companies, because you give the future engineers who decide which chip goes into their next product that sells millions or whatever of devices, you give them a tool in their hand that they see and feel how fun it is to play with those things. So it's literally a case of reputation. We just send out an email, we just show what we did in the past, and we ask, can you give us 5,000 of these chips for this event, and then also with information about the event, etc. And because of our reputation of always delivering on the promise, and it works for us at least. Yeah, you're welcome. Any more questions? Oh, yes.
I personally really like the badge from the magic from Fossia name.
Oh, yeah.
It's also very useful on non-chaos, non-computer events, normal events where people write names on tape and
Yeah.
on his desk or so, and it's always came very good to the people who are always, what is this?
For
And this type of badges are more not so specialized for social events.
Yeah.
A little bit too much for the organized.
Yes. Our badges are really for a niche group of people that are in this intersection of art and creativity and development and new technologies. For the people on the stream, he was showing a badge with a LED grid, kind of like the stuff you see on the buses or on sites. And it's a very simple badge. Well, I don't know where the camera is.
We have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah, but if one more question. Yes.
Looking at this device, it looks
Yes.
really expensive, so they actually give it away?
No, they don't give it away. This one is the Tamatsu, and it is for sale for 120 euros now, so it's not that expensive. But with sponsoring, we could bring it down to, I think, 40-ish euros. So if you ask, and also giving away, not every event gives it away. Bornhack, you had to pay 50 kroner, which is 7 euros, I think, if you wanted the badge, just to not have all them go to e-waste. As I said, with the first one we made, 80% of the people turned them on. So at least 20% were completely e-waste, never used. They just end up in a drawer. So most events these days ask for a nominal amount, and if you make an expensive one, you can get a more expensive one. But you can also not just get hardware sponsors, also monetary sponsors that get their names displayed on the boot sequence, in the thank you on the website, etc. So we can get relatively expensive badges and give them away. But mostly we don't give them away anymore. We just ask for a nominal fee. You're welcome.
Something more? Maybe one more question? If there are.
I can't really ask my question. My question was, did you plan for
I do, yes. I really want to go back to basics. As you saw, the first things I was making were like trinkets, tiny LED-driven things. And I would personally like to go back to that sometime, yeah, for an appropriate event. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. And I would say thank you very much.
You are welcome.